Hello and welcome to another video for O-level math. We are doing significant figures. We've done rounding off, estimation, approximation, all of those things. Let's study significant figures and let's see how they merge with the topic. Significant figures are literally the figures in a number which are significant. Okay, what does significant mean? Numbers, non-zero numbers are significant. Zeros can also be significant if they're paired between non-zero numbers. Okay, so let's run that with examples rather than otherwise. For example, 2.01 has three significant figures. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. You always start counting from the right, from the left, and then count to the right. Start with the first non-zero number and then count. Okay, significant figures, but 0.12 has only 2. So you count 1 and you count 2. You ignore the 0 because 0 is not significant. Okay. Now, significant does not have the same meaning as in English, so don't confuse that. Significant simply means mathematical significance. To count significant figures, you start at the beginning of the number and count to the right, past the decimal point if necessary, looking at the number 25937.065. 2 is the first significant number, 9 is the third significant, 6 is the seventh significant number, and so on. But there's one thing that you have to be careful of. Zeros at the beginning of a number do not count as significant figures. So in the numbers 0.005096, there are only 4 significant figures. The first significant figure is 5, the second is 0, that comes after the 5, the third is 9, the fourth is 6. Okay, the three initial zeros are placeholders only. You call them placeholders if you want to remember that. Tell you where the decimal point belongs. An example will help you see the significance of this. Okay, some blank space. I'm going to remove that later on. Let's look at this. The numbers 38 are shown in the with the place value of their digits. Okay, so it's showing you up to what decimal place. There is up to 3 decimal places. All of the numbers are written up to 3 decimal places. Okay, but what are the significant ones? So you start counting from the left: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is 6 significant figures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, but this one is just 1 and 2. Okay, now the question usually arises about rounding off to a certain number of significant figures. So we're going to use the same strategy as we did before. We're going to mark our requirement first and then round off. I want to round this off to three significant figures. Okay, so I start counting. What is my first significant figure? That's 1. Second significant and third significant. So I'm going to draw a bar after this, shade this. Now decide whether 4 is greater than 5 or not. No, it's not, so you add nothing to it. Okay, and this becomes 10.00. So that's correct too. Three significant figures, you can just write 10.0 if you want. Similarly, 0.0079, correct to one significant figure, which is the first significant figure that's here. You shade that. Now you decide whether 9 is greater than 5 or not. Yes, it is greater than 5. So you add 1 to this and you say that this rounds off to 0.0080 or just 0.008, one significant figure. I want to round this off to two significant figures, so 15637, that's 15,637. The two significant figures are 1 and 5. So I know I have to round off here. I draw a line, decide that this is greater than 5, so you add 1. So this becomes 16000. That becomes 16,000. Okay. Then 19.998, correct to three significant figures. So that's the third significant figure I have to round off here. I add 1 to this, so this becomes 20.0. Those are the three significant figures. Yes, it sounds odd that 0 is significant in this case, but that's the case. 1, 2, 3. So you start counting from 1. So 1 to third significant figure. You put a boundary, add 1, 0.0101. 0.010. Okay, that is about rounding off correct to the nearest significant figure. Re- Not the nearest significant figure, to a required number of significant figures. Um, then this one says using your calculator, calculate this correct to four significant figures. This is a calculator exercise. I'm not really inclined to do this. Let's do this in another class. It's just dividing and then rounding off your answer correct to four significant figures. Okay, what I want to mention here is that for the calculator part of the exam, for the calculator paper, the examiner requires you to round off non-exact numerical answers correct to three significant. Okay, so make sure that you remember that whenever you're calculating with the calculator, that's what you have to remember. Okay, let's estimate the value of this correct to one significant figure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start rounding off in such a way that I can round off to one significant figure. So 5.72 will round off to 6. That will round off to 100. Will round off to 2. And this should round off to 50. All correct to one significant figure, and then you reduce. Answer should be 6. Okay. Then we have a past paper question. It says by writing each number correct to one significant figure, estimate the value of this. So 8.62 will become 9. Okay, just one significant figure. Then 2 square, and this should be rounded off 2.285. I'll put a bar here because that's the first significant figure. Add 1, so this should round off to 0.3. That's 9 into 4 divided by 0.3. You remove the decimal. Okay, so one decimal place generated 10. 3 times 3, that's 120. Okay, so that's your final answer. Then okay, example 18 says 0580. This is okay, write each number in this calculation correct to one significant figure. So this would become 0.003. 2751, 2 is the first significant figure. Then 3400 would round off to 3000. Okay, 9.89 will round off to 10, and this would round off to 20. Okay, so 0.003 into 3000. Now in the past, these questions on the 0580 IGCSE exam have appeared on the calculator because everything was calculator then. Now that you have non-calculator exams, please make sure that you know how to calculate. 30 square will give you 900. Okay, so 0.003 into 3000 over 900. Cancel the zeros first. Okay, let's remove the decimal as well. So that's into 1000. So that's 3 into 30. That's 90 over 9000. 1 over 100. 1 over 100 should give you, with a calculator, it should give you 0.01. Okay, so know that this might be asked on a non-calculator exam now. Okay. Okay, I will have to check the signs on this one. I'm not absolutely sure that the bracket is here. Sounds a little odd that the bracket should be here. I think the bracket is here. Okay, let's keep the bracket here so that it's doable. Okay, so 8.95 minus 3.05 has to be rounded off to one significant figure. So that's going to be 9 minus 3 into 2. Okay, so 9 minus 3. 9 is rounded off, and 3 is also the rounded off number, and then 2 and into 3. So since this question was just about deriving an expression, that's what I've done. Using your answer to find an estimate for the value of the expression. Now that's simple. 6 into 2 divided by 3 will give you 4. That's 12 divided by 3. So that's equals to 4. That is the end of this video. We will talk about limits of accuracy, and that's a very important part of the topic in the next video. Thank you for watching.